In the morning, I asked Devin and Jim which one of them had gotten up at night to go to the bathroom. Jim lost no opportunity to tease me. Oh, why was there another bear in the camp? Then he filled Devin in on my moment of weakness. I tried to turn it around and tease Devin about his horrendous snoring, but somehow it still came back to me being a wuss. Devin said maybe it was a squirrel, a really fat squirrel. The boys laughed. I clammed up. I am a woman, in case you hadn't noticed, I thought I would point that out, but I like to do boy things. And I've learned that if you act like a girl, the boys don't let you play with them. So we packed up camp and we started out. I had a lot of time to think. I had a lot of time to think about where that fear had come from and what I wanted to do about it. When I had gotten hit by the cab, I'd been living with my brother. By the time I got home every night, the anxiety and the stress of having to keep it all bottled up because, of course, I couldn't talk to anyone about it, had gotten so bad that all I could do was storm in, slam the door behind me, run to the bathroom, lock myself in, and have a mini meltdown. So yeah, I was pretty much that roommate. My brother got kind of tired of me being all crazy all the time and suggested that a move might be nice, which is how I ended up in a not-so-nice neighborhood in Brooklyn. It was the kind of place where you had to buy your groceries through bulletproof glass. Even my guy friends refused to visit me because they valued their lives. So I was living the dream when I set out at 4 a.m. for an early morning crew call. I was walking to the nearest subway stop when a man jumped in front of me, something shiny pointing at me through his jacket pocket, and said, "Give me all your money." They say when faced with death, your life flashes before your eyes. This was the second time in a few months that I had seen death coming. The first time, all I had thought was, run. That hadn't worked out too well for me. So this time, I had a different thought. Give me all your money. I just fixed him with a stare and said, no. His reaction reminded me of those calls you make to your computer company's help desk. You know how they're on a script, and if you deviate at all from it, they don't know what to do? So he was thrown. He didn't know what to do, so he just said it again. Give me all your money. But it was too late. I had had my epiphany. I wasn't falling for it. He tried one more time, a last-ditch effort, but he was confused. Give me all your money. I just rolled my eyes and pushed right past him. He actually called after me, wait. At this point, I was totally annoyed with him, so I just turned around and said, what do you want? He held out his hand and he said, could you spare some change? I rooted around in my pocket, pulled out my spare change, made sure to keep the subway tokens because those things were like $1.50, gave him what was left, and then walked away. It never even occurred to me at the time to be scared. It was like I had used up all my fear. I hadn't really thought about fear so much again until the hike. So when we broke for a snack, I told the guys my story about how I had stood down a mugger. They thought it was badass. I felt like one of the guys again. Despite the night's fear, I was feeling strong. But then when we started to hike out again, Jim teased me. Now you just have to get over your fear of sleeping bears. I guess he didn't think I was strong enough. On the last stretch of the hike, I started thinking about how I had changed, about how I had once been this anxiety-ridden person who couldn't get across the street without shaking, how I had been a girl who stood down a mugger in the middle of the night despite the danger. And I guess now I'm a woman who doesn't want to get her face eaten off by a bear and has a little trouble sleeping when that's a possibility, but will still spend a night in the woods the next chance I get. The more I thought about it, the more justified I felt in being afraid. I had heard something in that camp. Bears exist. Psycho killers exist. Maybe it had been a fat squirrel. Since we all lived through the night, it probably wasn't a psycho killer. But despite what the boys said, it still could have been a bear. By the time we got up to the parking lot, I was feeling better about myself. I hadn't let my feminist sisters down. Maybe I'm not the type of woman anymore who would single-handedly wrestle a bear. Maybe I'm not the type of woman who would stand up to a mugger in the middle of the night. But I wasn't hiding at home. I was still out there. And I wasn't hiding from everything that goes bump in the night. So as we were loading up our gear, a crowd gathered on the far side of the parking lot. We walked over to see what everyone was looking at. I got there first, and I waited and watched for Devin and Jim to get there to see their reaction. Not 100 yards from where we were, there was a family, a mama and her 3 babies. It was a family of 4 black bears. I looked at the boys and I smiled at my proof walking across the road. But they lacked the good graces to look abashed. So I delicately and in, I assure you, a most ladylike manner, punched them both in the arm. They rubbed their arms in pain, but I didn't feel guilty. I don't know, I guess I just don't know my own strength.